When do we start having to worry about losing our collagen?
Not many people want to hear this, but actually,
today we're talking collagen, so let's get right into it. Collagen is a protein. It's actually the most abundant form of protein in the body. And it's made from amino acids, and it's found everywhere in the body. Your muscles, bones, skin, joints, tendons, ligaments, your organs, even your intestinal lining is all collagen. Anything that has connective tissue is collagen. It's often called the body's glue because it really is the glue that holds the body together. So your body can make collagen on its own. It naturally makes collagen by breaking down proteins into amino acids. I love to call collagen the fountain of youth because it supports all the things that make us beautiful, like our hair, our skin, our nails, even our teeth. What I love the most about collagen, it actually reduces things like stretch marks, cellulite, and wrinkles. Collagen supports joint health. In fact, it's like putting oil in a car because it's going to lubricate all of your joints, your tendons, and your ligaments. And when you start to lose that collagen, that's when you start to experience those stiff, swollen joints. Collagen supports gut health, which is crucially important because it feeds your intestinal lining, preventing all that food and toxins to go out into the blood system, creating inflammation, which can cause so many problems. So really important for your digestive system is collagen. Collagen supports your liver, thereby supporting your detoxification pathways. Glycine, which is in collagen, is the precursor to glutathione, one of the best detoxifiers your body can have. Collagen can be great for heart health because proline, an amino acid in collagen, is helpful to keep your arteries strengthened. And not only that, but they help lower your blood pressure and keep your arteries from getting clogged. Today, I'm excited to meet Dr. Lanna Cheuck, who's a medical doctor here out in New York City, who focuses on aesthetics. And she has a lot to say about collagen. I am so happy to be here with you, Dr. Lanna Cheuck.
thank you so much, Dr. Kellyann. I really appreciate you having me on your show.
I am so interested in all things collagen. And there's so many reasons why, but one of the main reasons is something that you deal with every day, and it has to do with beauty and collagen's ability to make you more beautiful. Absolutely. Which is what I love. One of the ways that we achieve all of this external beauty is by building your collagen on its own, by doing all kind of different things, whether it be taking supplements, pills, vitamin supplements, all kind of collagen bars. I mean, there's collagen everywhere. Absolutely. You can't escape it. Mm-hmm. When do we start having to worry about losing our collagen?
Not many people want to hear this, but actually, the studies have shown at the age of 20 to 30, you are going to start decreasing the amount of collagen that you're making per year. It's usually about 1%, per year, but different for each individual. So if you're thinking that at the age of 20, you're going to start to decrease the amount of collagen that your skin, your dermis is building, it's kind of scary, right? So that by the time you're 30, you're really not making much new collagen anymore. And then by the time you're 40s and into kind of the perimenopausal years, it's really drastically decreasing. And so that's why kind of in our field and in anything in medicine, right, we always say prevention is better than kind of fixing the problem later on in life. Just like if we're, seeing wrinkles in our skin, it's always best to, before that piece of paper is folded, because once you fold a piece of paper, it's very, very hard to unfold that piece of paper. Same thing with your skin. If you can prevent those wrinkles from setting in, if you can prevent the loss of collagen to cause that sagginess, that thin skin, that dullness of your skin, the earlier you start, the better.
If we have, so to explain this to me, it's almost like a contraindication to me of sorts. We have an abundance of protein, like the highest protein that we're going to have. in 25 to 35, say, in that range.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we're losing collagen. So do we not then go through this process in our body where we're constantly breaking and we're constantly building collagen? And at some point, does that table turn
Yes.
where we stop turning over collagen?
Correct. So in the beginning, we need lots of collagen to help build our bones, the dentine of our teeth, the cornea, our joints, our skin, obviously, which is our biggest organ of our body, right? As you get older, it does start to turn because you're going to get more breakdown of the collagen that you have, and you're going to get less production. So what that means is less production of collagen, more breakdown, you're losing your collagen. And the way that we see that externally, because, we see that externally, we feel things internally as well. Externally, we see thinning skin. So the skin doesn't have that kind of moisturized, layer that you see, and it sags a little bit more. So we call that the droopiness of the skin.
Mm-hmm.
You see mid-face descent. You see decrease of the fat pads. So it's collagen turnover and the kind of decrease in the production of it that's starting the process of us aging. And so that's why, like you said, it's very important to do things to not only supplement your collagen internally, which is a big deal because nobody, knew before these studies whether or not oral ingestion of collagen really helps to decrease aging. And it does, which is so huge, which is amazing. And there are things that we do as practitioners and experts in our field to help induce collagen formation. In other words, tricking our bodies so that we start to make more collagen.
Beautiful. Yes.
And there's a whole field dedicated to this with regenerative medicine. It's really boomed in the last, 5 to 10 years.
There's many, many, many different types of collagen strains. I think there's 26, if I recall, 26 strains of collagen.
At least 16 and probably more.
At least 16 and then more. But we focus on 5, right?
Correct.
So let's talk about these 5 and how they connect to your body. So talk to me about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what part of the body do they play a role in?
Type 1 collagen is the most abundant, and that's the one that, we see. It's the fibrillar type of collagen that we see in our hair, right? Our keratinized hair, our skin to kind of keep all that moisture in, our cornea, our, joints and our tendons. So that's the one that most people are really focused on because you really see the difference when you're kind of increasing that type 1 collagen.
And it's 90% of your collagen is type 1. Is that correct?
About 90%, right? Yep. Then there's type 2, which is really a non-fibrillar type.
When you say fibrillar, what do you mean?
So when you look at collagen under a microscope, when you look at the matrix, they're building blocks. They're amino acids that build protein. And then the protein kind of, your collagen combines with hyaluronic acid, and that's what gives you your suppleness. It gives you your elasticity, which is the collagen type 3. I mean, we all want good elasticity, right? So when you look at a balloon before a balloon's blown up, right, it's really stretchy. It's got good elasticity. It maintains its shape. But if you blow up that balloon with a lot of air or water for a long time, and then you let all of that air out, and you get that kind of sagginess, that decrease in elasticity, that's what happens when you're decreasing your collagen.
We don't want that.
We don't want saggy, right?
Ever.
We don't want that. We want it to be filled and we, obviously with good volume, but we want our skin to be taut with good rebound, right? We want it to have good rebound. That's why it's so important to have that good, tight and firm skin, kind of early on. And of course, genetics play a big role in it.
Let's talk about, because you notice aging in your hands very quickly relative to the rest of your body. Correct. You notice it in your neck.
So what happens is, in our bodies, we have very, very thin-skinned areas, which is the dorsum of the hand, underneath the eyes, and the tear troughs. We do a lot of tear trough rejuvenation.
What's tear trough?
Tear troughs is the hollowness that you get when you lose collagen underneath your eyes. And when that happens, everyone says, you look really tired, right? And you never want to hear that, right? We never want to look,
especially when you're
not
look
tired, especially when we have sleep, but God knows none of us ever sleep, right? But, it's one of those things where when it's thinner and you just don't have as much collagen and you lose that elasticity, that type 3 collagen and the type 1 collagen, you're going to see kind of a more dramatic loss of volume and suppleness of the skin and more dullness in those areas. So that's why when people say, you look a lot older, it's really because of what we're seeing around the eyes. It's seeing what's going on with the neck. And also, I'll tell you this, a lot of people forget that their neck is really part of an extension of their face. And so
Truly.
they forget to put sunblock. So we always really recommend really blocking that sun and keeping that moisture kind of in our dermal layer and, under our epidermis is really, really important. The other types of collagen, more internal, like, vascular, kidneys, you see it more with like kidney fibrosis and things like that. But for our purposes and for aesthetics, I think collagen type 1 and type 3 are the ones that we really try to help to rejuvenate and to maintain and to help produce more of.
So you know what my favorite way to get collagen is. It's bone broth.
Bone broth,
There's
all the way.
there's no guessing. So what are your favorite ways to get collagen?
So what I would say is, if you're a meat eater, meat lover, bone broth, amazing collagen. It's always good to get it kind of naturally through food, right? Which is really, the health of that person and through the gut is best served through food. For those that are, more pescatarians, marine collagen is also very highly bioavailable in your gut. You can also get things from legumes and other sources that have high vitamin C, such as berries, in order to get that into your system.
Yep. So because berries and anything that creates vitamin C in the body, it's the rate limiting factor to build collagen, meaning that you need vitamin C to build collagen.
Absolutely.
So these are all really important. So berries, this is one of the reasons why I love berries, one of my favorite things. So really, to break it down, you want to have high quality meats. You want to make sure that if you don't eat meats, that you have some other source of collagen building material, such as maybe marine collagen, legumes. And I have my thoughts and feelings on legumes and having them in moderation because they're not awesome for everyone. They're fine for some, but they're not awesome for everyone. So finding ways to build collagen through berries and building your vitamin C, I think is a really good option for people that don't eat meat. And also anyone really should be eating berries and meats and anything that will help build that connective tissue in the body. Because building that connective tissue is what makes everything churn. You know what I love? I love collagen powders because now there's some research that is showing us that these collagen powders can actually start building your collagen. And there's so many options. The great thing about having collagen powders is that you can get the natural collagen powder with no flavor that you can put in anything. And you can't even tell it's on, you can even put it on a salad. You can't tell there's collagen there. So for people who want that protein burst or they want some amino acids, some upbuilding, really good raw material for their body, I love these collagen peptide powders. And also you can make shakes. Collagen shakes. I love all that. For people that say, you know what, I'm not really a soup person. I'm not really a broth person. I love the idea of bone broth, but it's not for me. I say you got to go to the shakes then. The collagen shakes, frothy shakes. It's like a dessert. Who does not love that?
We all love dessert.
We all love that.
And it's easy. It's convenient. You put it in anything, just like my children. I put it in
Even
their food,
kids.
and they don't and they don't know it's there. So
they don't know it's there.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the powders.
Me too.
I love how we talked about the different types of collagen 1 through collagen 5 and what they do for your body. But I also think no matter if you're taking a powder or a pill or however you're getting your collagen, it's important to get a clean source. We're trying to get healthy here. We're trying to get younger here. We're trying to get, for many, slimmer, younger, healthier. So I think the health of the animal is really important. So a good grass-fed source of collagen is important. And I think hydrolyzed collagen is important because the smaller those peptides are, the smaller that they are, the better they're digested. So let's start talking about some of the things that you do externally to help patients start to rebuild this collagen.
So externally, what we do, well, number one, we want to prevent from aging. Preventing from aging is just as important, right? So once we kind of do our anti-aging processes and our procedures, it's always good to maintain that with good skincare, a good skincare regimen, staying out of the sun or good sunblock. One of the things that we love doing here is really microneedling, and we can do microneedling with a pep factor, which is basically peptides that help rebuild some of that collagen, or by using your kind of autologous blood, your platelet-rich plasma that has fibroblasts, mesenchymal cells, all these growth factors to put back into your skin. We introduce that either through microneedling, with or without heat, or just by straight injection into your skin.
So stop for a second. So what you're saying is the vampire facial thing.
Yes,
I mean, that's what people,
PRP. Yes,
but it's
yeah.
PRP, which is your platelets.
Correct.
And you spin those platelets and you stick them back on the face.
Correct.
Okay. And so the microneedling is when you are basically wrecking the skin momentarily, so it then says, I need to rebuild.
Correct.
And when you rebuild, the new collagen comes.
Absolutely. It's
play.
Micro trauma. We're not really wrecking the skin, but it's micro trauma that we cause to the skin, just like lasers do the same thing, just like chemical peels do the same thing, just like heat does the same thing. But these very tiny little needles that go into the skin will stimulate a reaction of inflammation. When you stimulate that reaction of inflammation, your body is saying, hey, I need to repair this. Let me grab all these growth factors. Let me send out all these signaling cells so that all these growth factors for rebuilding, remodeling, increasing our collagen production, type 1, type 3, type 2, to go ahead and really rebuild that back. So in essence, we are tricking our bodies to say, hey, we're not done making collagen yet. We want to get that collagen back. So we're going to trick our bodies to make that for us. And our bodies can do it, which is amazing. And that is the whole premise of what we do, from a regenerative medicine purpose, to really help the skin not only prevent the sagginess and the loss of volume and the lost lift, but to also tighten.
Creams, potions, lotions. I want to know, is it going to increase my collagen? Is there any authenticity to those type of products working?
That's a great question. Anything that you put on your skin as our natural barrier needs to have good absorption. So if the collagen that's coming from that cream is too big of a molecule, it's not going to really penetrate through that skin and underneath your epidermis to the dermis layer where you really need it to make that collagen as a building block. So no studies have actually shown that putting on creams in and of itself will help to induce the synthesis of collagen, but definitely collagen, hyaluronic acid, things to moisturize and keep that barrier, nice and protected and moisturize is going to be key. But that's why we do things like microneedling, where we kind of make this micro trauma into the pores so that you're able to absorb things a little bit better. Right. So there's delivery methods, different vehicles for those things to get into your skin, into the level that you want. And that's why when we do microneedling, the depth of the little needles, either with or without heat, will penetrate deep enough into your dermis to really start to churn over the synthesis of collagen. So lotions and potions, although that's a huge industry, help in ways of moisturizing and protecting your skin, but it doesn't really absorb enough or absorb through the skin without any additive things that we do as proceduralists.
So it's more of hydration.
More hydration.
So if I were to say, okay, I am a 40-year-old woman, I haven't done anything to build collagen, I'm just hearing about it now, how long would it take for them to start seeing results? If they started saying, I'm pounding down collagen, I'm on the collagen bandwagon. How long?
That's a great question. And it really is individualized because you will get those patients and genetically thinner skin, and they just start losing collagen like crazy in their 40s, and they actually look a lot older than their stated age. And then you get those that are more blessed with their genetics, that have thicker skin, more melanin in their skin, and they may see results a little bit quicker. So the answer to your question is really, it's dependent on each individual. But usually you start seeing the results, I would say, in about a month going forward. And the longer you do it, the longer you have to really use those building blocks of building that protein back and having your body make some of that. So that's why we like to do not only ingestion orally with bone broth, but also to do some of the external things to help really kind of kickstart that collagen formation in the areas that we really want, which is under the eyes, our jowls, our neck, our midface.
You're speaking to me. That's
Let's
where
do it.
That's where it happens.
Yes.
So what my thoughts are on collagen and weight loss is that so much of everything that we talk about has to do with, again, boiling down to the gut. And we know that when the gut is healed and sealed, that increases your ability to metabolize better, to digest food better, to decrease your incidence of leaky gut syndrome, which we know is when those toxins get out into the system, creating this alarm in your body, that alarm that we don't want, because that alarm means you've got head to toe inflammation. That's what ends up happening. So I love collagen to heal and seal your gut, to make it healthier, to help you get the weight off.
Dr. Kellyann, in your expertise, in the time that you've been doing this, has there ever been any kind of ill effects from someone taking too much collagen?
I think it's all in buying the highest quality that you can get. If you're getting that hydrolyzed, grass-fed collagen that doesn't have any of those additives in there, really what you're getting is all the good stuff. You're getting those amino acids and everything that you need to start rebuilding your body and work on those connective tissues.
Absolutely. And your body knows that if you ingest too much in one thing and you're kind of at that saturation level of, you have enough collagen, it just comes out of your body naturally. So,
it does.
And your body knows how to metabolize. Your body's very smart. So your body will take care of it.
It really is. The body's innate never ceases to amaze me. I learn more and more every day.
You heal more from your body than anything else,
you
right?
do. So the things that can damage your collagen, we're always talking about preventative and protecting our skin. Give me some top level stuff.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about the kind of extrinsic and intrinsic ways of, decreasing that collagen loss. Definitely smoking is a no-no. It really does speed up the aging process. And I tell that to all my patients, whether they are getting Botox or fillers or microneedling or something else. I always tell them, if you're smoking, you're going to get decreased wound healing, you're going to get decreased blood supply to your tissues, and therefore the aging process is going to be sped up. So definitely staying away from smoking. Smoking cessation is key to talk to with my patients. Staying out of the sun, a lot of the UV rays is going to help speed up the destruction of your collagen. So staying out of the sun. Decreasing your stress levels is important, as we all know, for everything, right? Even our gut health. So another thing that I want to just touch base on is really sugar and refined carbs. If you can stay away from sugar and refined carbs, that will definitely help decrease the aging process and decrease the breakdown of collagen in your body. So that's another important thing for us to do, is stay away from those things that can really trigger more collagen destruction.
And that's why I put people on programs to reduce their inflammation, to heal their gut, to help them become natural fat burners, because that glycation, that creation of what we call ages, this actually ages you. And I can't express that enough. There is a biochemical process that goes on in your body when we ingest too much sugar that creates this glycation cycle that ages you pretty darn rapidly. So when you're thinking about, again, really watching out for what are some of the ways that we cannot destroy the collagen that we have, things like overexposing ourselves to the sun, things like too much stress. And we don't think about stress destroying our collagen, but as you said, it does. And things like too much sugar and stress and pollution. One of the reasons why I wanted to do this segment with you is because you really love your patients, and I appreciate all that you do for so many, and I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. It was such a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, such a pleasure. The pleasure was definitely all mine. Okay, so that was a great conversation with Dr. Cheuck. I had so much fun. I hope you did too, listening to all the benefits of collagen. Here's how I look at things. When I look at nutrition, I'm looking at how many benefits do I get and how easy is it to get those benefits, which is one of the reasons why I love collagen. It's so easy to incorporate into your diet, and there's so many benefits. So I hope you learned a lot about collagen today, and until the next episode of Digging In.